Well, hello there. My name is HW.
Hey, I'm the Sooze.
Sooze, we've gone back in time.
Really?
The year is 1981.
Okay.
I am -5.
I'm -1.
There you go.
Okay.
And this is, no, obviously, we're trying to copy the sound of the 1981 Inventions DRV.
That's right.
Now, we can't profile pedals. People are probably aware. Well, you can, but you just have to do it in front of an amp.
Yep.
Maybe you could do it just by itself and run it into another Kemper.
You have to have 2 Kempers.
You need them in chain, you know?
One pedal at a time.
It could work. It could work. But we are using the green screen. No,
No, the
we're
mouse.
using the mouse and an EQ.
That's right.
Because the 1981 Inventions DRV is kind of a modified, cleaned up, refined, aged tubes Rat. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of, it really does clean up some of the harshness of the Rat. And it's a fairly, I would say, I was surprised dialing this in. It's a little more scooped than I would think like Sunday morning guys would like. Mm-hmm. But it's popular with them. Mm-hmm. To me, this pedal does something different.
Yeah, totally.
It's like a really good sounding Rat, a better sounding Rat. Mm-hmm. And
you think a lot of guys use these for like lead sounds or like, you know, solo time or single line kind of things?
I think, yeah. I mean, I think in that community as a whole, this pedal has reintroduced to them a circuit that they did not take seriously.
Right, okay.
And the mouse, as we're going to call it, the Rat in real life, but the mouse in the Kemper does some pretty low gain stuff well. Mm-hmm. And but the Rat isn't always looked at as doing that thing.
Totally, yeah.
So what we've done is, we tried to copy it, just like we did all those other pedals.
I'd say we got pretty close.
I think we got pretty close.
Yeah.
I think I actually prefer some of the things we're fighting in the mouse OD. Mm-hmm. I like the mids a little more pushed, a little more there, and I felt like these mids are a little there. The 1981 is a little bit scooped, has a good amount of high end presence, has a real full low end. Mm-hmm. The 1981 I strongly prefer with humbuckers, rather than single coils. Okay. To me, when I try to do a lot of gain with a Strat or even a P90 or something, I always go, okay, but where's the mids? But as soon as I get a humbucker guitar out, it seems to make sense.
This brings the mids.
It brings the mids.
Right.
Let's try the 1981, hear how that sounds first. These are just for reference. This is a PRS, and this is these are 5708 humbuckers, so low output PAF kind of deal.
Cool. Oh, and what's the profile that we're on?
This is the Stoogie Arshel.
Yeah, 1.2.
Yeah, Stoogie Arshel 1.2. So the darker channel, and it's really throaty, and we're getting a lot of high end from the pedal.
Okay.
So here's 1981. Very nice. Here is the Kemper 1981. What do you notice?
Man, it's really, really close. I would say I feel, when playing, I feel the compression, kind of the sag of that 1981, the real pedal. But man, I mean, it's like sonically,
right.
There's like you mentioned a little bit in the mids. You know, I feel like it's clearer. The Kemper 1981 is a bit clearer and like more just in your face.
Yeah, play those again. I felt like the 81 was a little more rounded off on the top end that time. Mm-hmm. And you and me have been turning a lot of knobs and stuff.
Right.
And that's one of the things we've been trying to get is the high end correct. Yeah. I think I had the 81 a little bit dark, but try that again. Here's the Kemper 81. So we're very close, I think.
I was looking down when I was playing, and I didn't know which was which. Like, so that's a good sign.
It's funny when I'm going back and forth, I hear the little subtleties, but I would never really remember what they are. If I switch enough times, I'm not sure I'd remember what they are, and I could definitely be fooled. I'm hearing a little more high end out of this one, maybe just in the highest presence. But actually, we've actually been adding some high end because there's a difference sort of in how the mouse feels just by itself with no EQ compared to the 81. The 81 also has a lot of like low end fullness that the mouse doesn't have by itself. So there's some pretty minor adjustments in terms of EQ going on here. You can see the curve here. We're not doing a ton to it, but it's making it as close as possible. And for guys who are into the 81, it's gonna maybe feel a little more at home than if not. Now, the other thing is, there's some very usable drive settings kind of all over the place. That's a little on the lower end, and it doesn't quite feel on the low end in terms of the amount of gain that we're hearing. But that is pretty low on the drive of both of these pedals. So if I turn them both up, now we can compare a little more drive. Play those. Check that out.
Cool. Can we hear the amp really quick?
Here's the amp by itself. It's definitely edgy. You know what I mean? So we're getting a good amount of drive there. We can swap this out and try a clean profile, but we're gonna put it out with this Stooge 1-2.
Yeah.
Kind of as a sample deal. So check this out with the higher settings. Depending on what you're playing, I almost can't tell them apart.
Yeah, totally.
But sometimes I can.
That's been an interesting thing in these videos is like certain parts of the neck dead on.
Right.
Certain other parts, it's really weird. Like there's a whole frequency the pedal is trying to deal with.
Yeah.
And then the Kemper's trying to deal with across the board, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes you notice like a difference in high end. Sometimes you notice a difference in the mid range. And then sometimes you just sort of all jumbles up together. I'm going to switch out the stack here. And a little tip and trick here, I'm going to hold that down. I've got my stack here. Now I'm going to switch this out, and I'm going to go find this 65 V2 that we've been putting out in a lot of the other pedal demo things. And we're going to try this out now with with both of these effects. So here's that amp by itself. It's going to be a lot cleaner. Not nearly as mellow. Cleaner, bright. All right, let's try this. We haven't tried this yet. Let's try that. Here's the 1981 from the... It's super bright. At first it's brash, your ear gets used to it a little bit, and it becomes like a raspy thing. If I want to like change that on either pedal, right? I just am gonna pull this cut knob back to here. Try that. I'm going to do the same thing now, but on the mouse, but I've got to turn it the other way. Mm-hmm. So I've got to turn it down, whereas the cut knob I want to cut more. The mouse has a traditional tone knob.
It's not reversed?
It's not reversed, is it? Let's try it.
Let's try it. So, a question on that. So, you would kind of go straight for the mouse EQ rather than trying to reach for that equalizer block, right?
Yeah, because it's where we set the pedal up for that darker amp. Mm-hmm. So I just think moving the tone knob is going to make the most sense, rather than leaving the pedal very bright and then trying to adjust the EQ
Trying to get
a bunch.
the EQ. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So this is the 1981 the Kemper.
Yeah, and I'll play with that tone knob.
Same pedal.
You know, the differences are so slight there, and they're, you get into like a little bit difference in volume output just as we start, and how it sounds when you start changing a bunch of things. But it goes to show you really can use this type of circuit and sound with different amplifiers. You get wildly different results at the same setting. If you go into a very warm, in this case, the Stu G amp was a very warm, Marshall-y sounding. It's like the normal channel of his Blues Breaker. And then going into a deluxe reverb, very bright. It's night and day, but you get some really cool stuff out of it, which is why this is an ultra cool circuit that people have liked for a really long time.
Totally. Yep.
So, does this take the place of the 1981? Should you throw away your 1981 and use this instead? This one is close, but to me, just like with any of these pedals, right? Any of these things we're doing, we're just taking a reference, something we like, the 1981, and we're going, how can we make our Kemper effect sound a little more like that? How can it give it? What a great idea!
New.
How can it give us a better idea of where we want to go?
Yeah,
you know what I mean, with the mouse effect.
Yeah, what this is kind of showing me too is settings you might not normally go for. You just have a more realistic reference of like, no, it's okay to move your EQ that way. You know, it's okay to add a whatever, because it's like, well, we like that pedal.
Right.
It's doing that inside. We just don't know it. You know?
You and I would never sit here and go, I definitely want to boost 160,
totally,
by 4 decibels.
We talk about dumping low end a lot.
Yeah, but the 81 has a real strong, thick low end that the mouse doesn't quite have by itself. And that combined with sort of, it has a good amount of high-end presence, but in the 1981 it's very pleasing. I would say in the mouse it's a little less pleasing without some massaging, and I'm not even sure we got the high-end to sound. To me, the high-end sounds a little more pronounced in the Kemper version as we're sitting here, but we tried to dial it out, and it affects the mid-range and the, even when you play the low notes, when you have a good amount of presence, you hear the clack of the note in the attack. And one of the things the 1981 does well is it has a full low end, but you hear the definition of the note. And so when we were dialing this in, the mouse on its own has less low end. When you add that low end in, you lose some of the definition. So we're trying to get it back in at the higher frequencies. You can hear the pick attack on the note itself, and that comes with some high frequency, right? So the 1981 is definitely this massaged version of a Mouse Rat. Good band, by the way, Mouse Rat. But it's definitely a massaged version of that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And trying to emulate that, it gets us to a weird point. We're boosting some presence and boosting some low end, really for the purpose of getting definition and getting fullness.
Right.
I would never do that by myself.
Yeah, totally.
Which is why these things are so valuable.
Yeah, it brings a real reference back in the conversation and go, oh, okay, wow. We're almost studying how it works and then learning, from it.
So I hope this is helpful to some people. They can download this. It's free on the Tone Junkie page in the link below. And keep your 1981, but in case you want to leave it at home and take the Kemper stage out, then I think it's useful in that regard. Sooze, play us out, and I'll jump back and forth a couple times.